This is the story of a man who came to realize that his girlfriend from 15 years ago was actually the mother of his child. Shortly after realizing this, he is informed that his daughter is even coming to live with him. He is going to have to figure out all this dad stuff on the fly. Enjoy the story. Enjoy the
Hi dads. When I, M32, was a teenager, I dated a girl, Kay. One day Kay broke up with me out of the blue with no explanation. Fast forward 15-ish years later, the police showed up at my apartment. Long story short, Kay was pregnant with my kid 15 years ago. She got charged with a bunch of drug charges, and when they asked if her daughter could go to any family, she said I was the dad. Well, after a paternity test, I do have a 15-year-old daughter with Kay, so my daughter is going to come live with me today. I'm not a dad, I don't have kids or a significant other, just dogs. So I'm pretty clueless when it comes to being a dad or taking care of a kid, especially one who's a teenager. After talking with her social worker, she says Kay was neglectful to my daughter and isn't going to be used to being taken care of or having structure, which will be a big adjustment for her. The social worker says I need to be patient with her and just show her love and support, even if she doesn't want it. I have a room all ready for her in my apartment. It is pretty basic because I didn't want to overwhelm her. So yeah, she's coming today. Just hoping for some support, maybe some tips.
Here are some responses to his question in the comments.
Start by talking to her. Let her know you're here for her. Get to know her, and then support her interests and hobbies. Let her decide how she wants to decorate her room. It's a bit more work starting from the middle like you are, because you weren't there to learn who she was as she was figuring it out herself. Make the environment safe and welcoming to her, and give her the privacy she needs. She's not in a position she needs someone to come down hard on her. She's in a position she needs someone that she knows she can turn to no matter what is wrong.
His response.
I met her twice. Definitely more difficult starting from the middle. It would be a lot easier with a little kid or baby. I know this is a big adjustment for both of us, so I'm not going to try and go all strict dad on her. It's more about support, I think.
You don't want to be overly strict, but most kids, even teens who swear they don't, do better with structure. Don't go overboard scheduling her day, but create firm and reasonable boundaries and stick to them, especially anything related to health and safety like curfews, vetting people she hangs out with, etc.
Yeah, that's what her social worker was saying. The best thing she needs is to have some structure.
Another commenter's advice is as follows.
Holy hell, welcome to the club in the craziest way possible, I guess. First things first, I can tell you that you're probably not going to want to do this alone. You're going to want as many other people on your team as possible. This is going to be a huge adjustment for both of you. The difference is, she's coming into it with half as much life experience and no base of support at all. Don't try to take this on alone. Second, if I were to put myself in your shoes, I'd say that the one thing I try to remember over everything else is empathy. It's going to be tough, but think about everything this kid has been through. Also remember that this is your chance to be, what sounds like, the first positive influence on this kid's life. You could honestly be the difference between whether this girl's life goes in a positive direction or a negative one. I know that's not exactly fair to you, and it's a ton of pressure, but this is your chance to step up and do what may end up being one of the most important things you've ever done in your life. That's the role of a dad in a nutshell, really. You're the person who's going to model what a man should be. You'll mess up, it'll be tough, and sometimes you'll feel like a complete failure. But if you show up, care, and support her as best you can, then you'll be okay. Good luck, man. You can do it.
Damn, that's a lot of pressure. My parents definitely plan on helping out a lot, and I have a few close friends who are willing to help out. I want to be a good role model for her because she deserves to have that.
Here is another comment.
Make sure you have menstrual supplies on hand, pads and tampons at a minimum. Once she's settled in, start by taking her to Target to get some toiletries and nice things for her room. Let her pick out bedding and some decorations she likes so her room feels more homey. This would be a good way to start chatting a little while having a distraction to make both of you more comfortable. Treat her to a sugary drink from Starbucks while you're at it. Don't be afraid of awkwardness. Teens are accustomed to adults being corny and earnest, so just lean into that and pretend it isn't totally weird. Also, if it's available to you, get her into therapy. It might take a while to get an appointment, so be prepared for a wait.
Thanks for that. My mom was helping me get stuff ready, so I already got pads and tampons for her. I plan on taking her shopping sometime this weekend if she wants to. I'm honestly prepared for the awkwardness because we don't know each other.
Here's one last comment before we move on.
Definitely avoid drinking or substance use if you do enjoy it. If her mother was heavily involved, you want to be the exact opposite. I know it's an awkward way to meet your child, but show excitement. Let her know how happy you are to have her in your life after having no clue she existed. Ask her what she needs from you. Let her know you want to support and be the best for her that you can, but you need help because you've never parented before and don't know the person she really is. Be genuine and kind. In as many ways as possible, try to figure out what you guys can bond over and do together to form that relationship. I'm proud of you for stepping up and not being a deadbeat dad. Keep your head up and look at this for what it is. A positive. You get your daughter in your life and get to be a great influence on her.
A good call. Thank you. I occasionally drank, and I figured it would be best to stop doing that for a little while because of everything with her mom. I am honestly both nervous but excited to be a part of her life. I never thought I would start off being a dad to a 15-year-old instead of a baby, but I'm happy to have her honestly, even if I don't know what I'm doing. Update 1. The past few days with my daughter now living with me. Her mother went to jail on a bunch of drug charges. It has been a big adjustment for both my daughter and myself. I told her when I first picked her up that I know this is very new for both of us, so I know it's going to take some time to adjust. She has been through a lot from what I can tell. She's very underweight and not used to constantly having meals. I put a snack bin in her room so she hopefully doesn't feel the need to hide food, at least stuff that isn't supposed to be left out. I told her she could get food from the kitchen whenever she wanted, but that seemed to overwhelm her, so it's now a snack bin. I also have breakfast and dinner, lunch on weekends, at a consistent time, so she just knows a meal is going to happen. She also has nightmares and screams. Of course, she hasn't told me what they're about. I don't expect her to yet. But whatever it was traumatic for her. So I'm in the process of finding a therapist for her. For some more positive things, I got her to open up enough to find out some things about her. Firstly, she loves my dogs. We took them on a walk together. She's smart and loves to read, and she likes to play basketball. I of course told her some stuff about me. She's pretty quiet and reserved. I expected her to not be really open with me considering I am a stranger to her. But things so far aren't too bad, going relatively well.
Here's some more advice from the comments.
You are doing awesome, Dad. She has safety and security in what appears to be the first time in a long time, maybe ever. If I may though, I'd like to give you a heads up about something. I had a friend at work some years ago who was in the same boat as you. He had acquired custody over his daughter when her mom was imprisoned. But in this case, it wasn't a drug charge. It was vehicular manslaughter for hitting a pedestrian while driving drunk. He first learned she existed when Mom was in trial, and his first time to actually meet her was when Mom was already in prison. A few months after he was looking after her, she ran away. They found her. She's safe and back with him, so that's all well and good. After some therapy, it came to light that all the positive, supportive, affirming, safe environment was so alien to her that it scared her, and she ran away because she didn't know what to do. She was not used to having it, so she didn't know how to handle it and respond to it being there. And there was also an element of being afraid it was too good and would all disappear or be taken away. I wanted to give you a heads up that those same concerns and fears may read their ugly faces in your daughter's mind too. Encourage her, but don't push her further than she's comfortable with. You seem to already have that down, I'm happy to see, since the free access to food was overwhelming, so she has a snack bin for now. Excellent awareness and instincts, Dad. You got this.
Thank you for bringing this up. I'll keep that in mind.
All right, Dad. So far, so good. Keep it up. Now I'm probably going to bring the mood down a bit because my work experience has severely jaded me. If your daughter's mom is a severe drug addict, the likelihood that your daughter was physically or sexually abused is really high. It's not uncommon for druggy moms to either outright sell their daughters or simply not give a fuck what happens to their daughter as long as they are getting high. Now, hopefully nothing like that has happened to your daughter, but on the off chance it has, you need to be prepared for her disclosing to you. Ideally, she'll disclose to her therapist first, but my experience says the first real trusted adult is who they are going to tell. That'll likely be you. If she discloses, the best thing you can do for her is just listen. Don't ask questions, just sit there and acknowledge what she's saying. Now, if she has disclosed to you, the majority of states require that you notify social service and law enforcement. You're going to have to tell her you got to report this. That news is probably going to hurt her, so make sure you do it in a manner she knows you care about and is ultimately in her best interest. Also, your goal is to listen, acknowledge, and inform her you're required to disclose all in one setting. If you get that accomplished, you can ask her something like, "Anything else you want to tell me right now?" And if she says no, then leave everything be and don't reapproach her about the topic. If she wants to come back and talk about it some more, again, just listen, but never prompt her to talk about it. Once she discloses and you report it, DSS law enforcement will take over and do their thing. Your job from that point on is to support her. Again, I hope something like this hasn't happened to her, but it's better to be prepared than blindsided. My source for this: I am a cop who investigates child sex abuse cases and is a forensic interviewer.
Thank you. I definitely want her to feel comfortable enough to tell me things, but I'll never force it. And of course, just listen to what she feels comfortable saying. Update 2. A good but sad moment with my daughter. Well, things have been going pretty good so far. Today she was sitting in the kitchen doing homework, and once she finished, she started playing with my dogs, but left a few papers out after putting the rest away. I asked what those are. She said, "Oh, just some tests I had this week." I asked if I could see them. She said she had gotten A's on 3 tests: chemistry, history, and geometry, after being at the school for less than 2 weeks. I was honestly very impressed, not because I don't think she's not smart, but because she just started at a new school and is having a big life adjustment. I told her that was amazing, and ended up going on about how, at her age, I didn't care about the school aspect of school, just cared about sports and my friends. She said I enjoy learning and reading. It helps me get away from life. Then it hit me it was her way of escaping from the seemingly not good life with her mom and focusing her mind on something else like learning and reading. It honestly makes me really sad to think about.
Response from the comments.
Celebrate the wins, Dad. Showing encouragement and interest in her academic success, talent, will only help her treat it as a positive gift, rather than an escape.
I could tell she is used to not getting encouraged or at least told a good job because she kept saying, "Yeah, but it's no big deal."
You're doing a wonderful thing. Keep it up. In the first post, you said you aren't a dad, but you totally are. You're doing all the good dad things. Your last update was really wonderful about how you are giving her psychological safety with food, and now here with compliments to her work. She sounds like she's a great kid who has been through some awful times. Stick with her through thick and thin and let her know you will always be there for her, and that you love her always, even when you may be fighting or disagreeing. One important tip I've used often in my life is to never end a fight without saying that you still love them. It offers a lot of emotional support when they are having a tough time. It works wonders with my kids.
Thank you. I still don't think of myself as a dad. Honestly, I think that just comes with time though, doing dad things.
Mom Lurker chiming in. You are a damn fine dad. Seriously proud of you. Keep listening, encouraging, helping, and building trust. You're dadding. She is very lucky to have you in her life. She has had a rough beginning. That can't change. However, she has a successful future now thanks to you. She knew school, books, and learning were always there for her. Now she is learning, you will be there for her, encouraging her every step of the way. This mom is happy for you both.
Thank you. I honestly feel lucky to have her in mine as well. She's a good kid. Just been through a lot, which even though I don't know the details, it makes me sad to know she had to go through tough things at such a young age.
I appreciate your updates. Keep it up. Keep being there for her. As she gets more comfortable with you and feels more at home, she may start to push boundaries and initiate conflict. It could get complicated, but stick it out. She'll need it.
I know that will be really difficult, but I know it's because she's just not used to being cared about or just having more overall life stability, and will want to see what she can get away with, possibly.
I love reading these posts. You are doing all the right things and have a good sense of how to react. I'm sure you'll have tough patches, but always appreciate the successes. And encourage her to treat the good grades as successes even if she just thinks it's expected. Don't overdo it because you want it to be expected. Just don't ever undervalue her hard work.
Thank you. I definitely don't want her to think I expect it as long as she tries. I'm fine. She might put pressure on herself when it comes to grades, though.
Back to the story.
Update 3. Daughter broke my heart. Earlier we were out to eat because I didn't feel like cooking and I found out my daughter never had tacos. So we went out for tacos, and we were having a very casual conversation until a mother with her 2 young daughters, I would say both girls under 10, came in. You could just tell the girls were having fun with their mom and all 3 just clearly loved each other. Well, my daughter got quiet and kept staring at them. I didn't want to pry, so I kept quiet. She didn't say anything until randomly on the drive home she said sometimes it's hard seeing girls have a good relationship with their mom. I get jealous because my mom and I never did. Then she started crying and let me know she wanted to be left alone the rest of the night. It was hard seeing her cry and upset. It is also difficult to know even though I'm now around in my daughter's life, and I'm trying to be a good parent. She still spent the first 15 years of her life not having a good relationship with her mom, and I can't fix that. I wish I could, but I can't. Which sucks because she didn't deserve to be neglected and possibly abused. I'm just in my feelings and really sad for my daughter.
Here are some more responses from the comments.
It's amazing that she's already so open with you. You must be doing something right. Keep it up, Dad.
She just randomly will say stuff then shut out for at least a few hours and not talk. I don't know if it's because she feels safe but then feels weird about talking about how she feels or what it is. I definitely feel like I've grown attached despite living a very different life compared to before, having my daughter around and having to change really fast. I can tell she's a good kid, seems like she has big goals, but I can also tell she has a guard up constantly, just by how she carries herself and how she acts. We mostly talk about my dogs, basketball, and football. I've shared stuff about me, and she's shared what she wants about herself.
Give her a hug and be there for her.
She actually hates hugs or being touched in general. Luckily, I didn't find that out the hard way, but from her social worker. But that's just another sign with abuse.
Just wanted to say, I have a 16, almost 17-year-old daughter. Our situations are different, but from what I can somewhat tell, their mums are the same. My daughter's mum was an absolute deadbeat drug addict who only appeared in her life when it was time to go to court and try and screw things up. Long story short, I have had full custody of her since she was around 10. My daughter feels the same way as your daughter does. In fact, my daughter goes into some pretty dark places whenever she thinks about her mum, or whenever mum tries to communicate with her. If she's having trouble or issues, I generally know it's because that side of the family is at it again. I'm just posting to say I understand and it sucks. Don't be discouraged. Yes, you might have missed out on the earlier years, but you guys have a lifetime to establish a good bond, and as someone who has both younger and older kids, there are some really cool things you get to do with your older kids that you can't do with them while they are young, or they will enjoy much more as an older kid.
I'm sorry about your daughter's mom. I can tell my daughter's mom is a very touchy subject for my daughter. Thank you. I'm going to try and make up for the years of not being around. I did explain. I didn't know about her. And that's why me not being around wasn't a choice I made.
Damn it, Dad, you are killing it. You are there now. Tacos, check. Ask her what else she missed out on and do it.
I feel like she missed out on a lot of normal childhood experiences, which makes me sad for her.
Back to the story. The final update on record.
Final update. Got called Dad for the first time. It has been a little over 2 months. She gives me a hard time, honestly. I haven't yelled at her or anything like that. I understand she's been through it. We're both in therapy to help. Well, this whole week she has been really rude and arguing with me. It has been very rough. During one of the arguments, she ended up telling me some very personal stuff I'm not going to share, but I will say she had a very rough start to life. I was trying my best to comfort her. She seemed like she was having a panic attack. We were just sitting in silence and she said, "You know, you're pretty good at the whole dad thing for being a newbie." I laughed and said thank you and told her that being her dad had been enjoyable. It was silent for a while, but then she said, "Thanks, Dad." That made my whole year, to be honest. Been having a bit of happy tears. Never could have guessed that this is what life had in store for me, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
The final comments.
I've really enjoyed reading all your posts and was going to tell you you're doing a great job, Dad, but your daughter beat me to it. Not many people could do what you're doing. You're doing great things. I'm so happy for you both.
I was not expecting that tonight, but thanks, man.
Hey, Dad. Even though you've had some arguments, know that arguing with you can mean she feels safe. Safe you'll not kick her out. Safe you won't hurt her in retaliation. Safe to push boundaries. Safe that she knows you'll still love her. Holidays are hard for trauma survivors. They bring up so much. I know you've created a home and resources to best support her and yourself. You're both amazing. We are all rooting for you.
Thank you. I think it's also her testing to see my reaction. See if she can trust me. Definitely a hard time. Thanksgiving was a bit hard on her today, and I know Christmas will be as well. That being said, going to give it all I've got.
That is wonderful. It is a great feeling for sure. My eldest didn't know I was his father till his 18th birthday. I knew when he was 13. His mother had her reasons, and I kept silent. I was his babysitter, and he spent a lot of time during the summer with me. One day, after he knew I was his father, we were hanging out like normal. He had a couple friends over at my place, just sitting out back and whatnot. We got up to walk out to the car for something. He turned and said, "Hey, Dad, do you think you could take us up to QT to get some drinks?" I responded with, "Yeah, no problem." Then I was like, Did he just call me Dad? Took a second to process. It was pretty great to hear it. He and I don't have a typical father-son relationship. The way we hang out is more like an older brother, younger brother one. He'll be 30 in a few days, and I'll be 48 11 days after. He has only called me Dad twice. He has referred to me as his father a handful of times in conversation when talking to his friends, or when he is making a point about one of his mannerisms. Like, well, he is my father type of thing. But it is awesome to hear.
That's great. You have what sounds like a good relationship with your son, and he also knows you are his father. Getting called Dad definitely isn't a permit thing for my daughter. I'm still first name, but it is definitely awesome getting recognized as a dad by her. Most people actually think my daughter is my sister. We actually look a lot alike. I didn't think so. Unit, I saw pictures of myself at 15 LOL.
Thanks for listening, and subscribe for updates on the story. Have a great day.